everybody, and welcome to What Happened at Ubisoft Forward 2021. I'm Ben.
And I'm Peter. Hello.
Hello, Peter. We have just live reacted on youtube.com/teamtriplejump/live to Ubisoft's E3 conference. It was pre-recorded. I am struggling to process it. The live chat were having a bit of an issue as well. Can you tell me your thoughts?
No, because I feel exactly the same way as you. It was, for us certainly, it was very underwhelming. If you're big into your Tom Clancy games, there was something for you there. If you are excited for Far Cry, I suppose there was. I mean, even then, if people who are into Far Cry 6 and looking forward to that, it was just a cutscene, really, wasn't it? And then the developer was having a chat. So, there wasn't even, here's some gameplay or anything like that. I think probably a lot of people, even if they're into certain Ubisoft properties, are probably a bit disappointed with that.
It was a very strange conference with some interesting games.
But hey, if you like Mario and Rabbids, you're very happy.
As we're
today.
learning, a lot of people do. It's easy to mock that, but it definitely has an audience. So we will get to that in due course. But let's start off, Peter, with what they showed initially, which was the Watch Dogs Legion Bloodline trailer. It's an expansion for Watch Dogs Legion. And look who's in town. It's Aiden Pierce and his iconic cap.
Yeah, absolutely. So apparently he's teaming up with Wrench against a rogue member of DedSec. That means nothing to me, Ben. Does it mean anything to you?
So I believe Wrench was a character in Watch Dogs 2.
Right.
And DedSec is, I'm going to be in trouble here. A rogue member of DedSec. That confirms it. It's the hacking organization that they're a part of.
Right, it must be,
at least in number 2 anyway. But yeah, this takes place in London. There's some stakes involved. If you like Watch Dogs Legion and you're looking for some more Watch Dogs and for some reason have a particularly strong affinity for, I think, possibly one of the least interesting Ubisoft protagonists ever, which I think is saying something in Aiden Pierce, then it's coming in July.
It's coming in July,
so,
absolutely, yeah.
And I want to make it clear, we tried really hard on the live stream, and we will continue to do so in this What Happened At video, to stay positive, because we're not huge Ubisoft fans and there weren't really any games here for us. It can be easy to be snarky and negative, but we do have to draw a line at some point and do, just say what we feel about some of these games.
Yeah, we're not going to lie and say we were excited about this thing when we weren't. So there's a limit to the positivity if there wasn't much to be gleaned from it, from any given thing. Moving on though to something else that seemed somewhat interesting for a time, and then we got quite bored because it went on for a while, was that Rainbow Six Extraction. So this has, in a way, been in development for a long time, but under a different name, right? What was the original name?
It was Rainbow Six Quarantine is what it was called originally. Yeah. Now, I don't know if the name change is because of the real world quarantine that we all enjoyed last year. However, it has been in development for some time, so it could just be that the direction of the game just largely changed. But this is interesting. As we were saying on stream, The Division is very much about a virus. And there were almost certainly quarantines at some point in that game, but this very much leaning into sort of spooky zombie-like territory.
Yeah, so apparently there've been sort of Halloween-themed events in kind of Rainbow Six games, Tom Clancy games in the past, but this seems to be the first proper standalone project where, outside of maybe a bit of fancy tech in previous games, they are really going fantasy or sci-fi or whatever you want to call it. They're going non-realistic essentially, and they're saying, hey, here are some scary monster boys or girls. There's a big crawling mass of black slime going everywhere. People turned into popcorn men or women. So that in and of itself, I suppose, is quite interesting that a Tom Clancy game has really just gone so far out there for the first time in terms of standalone projects.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom would be thrilled, of course. His beloved realistic military books. This is exactly what he had in mind. Joking aside, though, we weren't really sure if it was going to be sort of like The Division in that you had an open world environment to move around, and it's certainly a squad-based shooter, clearly, or if it was more Siege-esque. There's certainly a lot of elements from Siege, the breaching through the walls and so on.
The big metal doors you can put up in, those big fold-out sheet things,
barricade thingies. But the write-up that we're using to sort of get our cliff notes from here does imply that there are some early previews available on the internet. So if you are interested in this one, you can certainly read up on those and find out a bit more about how this game works. If you're interested, but it is apparently going to be releasing in September, so it is coming very soon.
Yeah, very good. So up next was a bit of a curveball, more from Rocksmith, which surprisingly is 10 years old, seemingly. I could have sworn it was more recent than that, but clearly not. They certainly said for the past 10 years we've been doing this stuff, and we're looking forward to the next 10 years. But Rocksmith Plus is coming. In fact, is it here? I'm looking for a date. I don't think we've got a date.
I think you can sign up for some sort of. There's a beta, I think, coming up very soon that you can sign up for now. It clearly aims to be a very comprehensive learning tool for guitar.
Yeah.
And the guy who's in charge of it, very, very enthusiastic about it. And, it's always difficult, especially when you put like a face to a project, and it can be difficult to criticize because it's like, oh man, this guy's so passionate about it. But it looks like the tools that Rocksmith Plus provides you with to learn guitar kind of looks a bit more complicated than actually learning guitar.
In some ways,
there's so much stuff, which on the one hand is very comprehensive, and that's great, cover all bases. But on the other hand, it's a lot, right? You're going to have to learn all this software.
Yeah. But on the other hand, they said that it was the biggest library of music, like play along music tracks in any music learning software. So that's a plus. And also, to gamify something like that, it just adds an extra level of, an incentive for one thing, because you're almost just kind of playing, Rock Band or whatever, but in a more comprehensive way. And it gives you that reward and that sense of satisfaction when you get, hey, that's a new PB on that song. It's an interesting way to go about learning an instrument. Although, Ben, you did make the good point that perhaps not with such comprehensive tools as this, but there are tools much like this that are kind of just available online for free if you look in the right places. So do you really want to sign up to a subscription service that's in some ways perhaps over-engineered? Like, if you're not going to use all of those complicated bits of software, you literally just want it for the scrolling notes to learn some songs, maybe this is going to be too much for you, and it's like, whoa, I don't need all this, thank you very much. But
it'll certainly come down to price and ease of use, I think. So we'll see. But you can certainly go sign up for the beta now on PC if you're interested in learning guitar, or I suppose not even learning, just practicing guitar and improving perhaps. So there's, it'll have its appeal.
On the face of it, I would say that it seems to be doing a good job of what it sets out to do. And part of the reason I say that is because I think you can say the same thing about the next game. But again, whether people really, really want or need this is a slightly different argument. What was next, Ben?
So this is Riders Republic, which we already knowed about. This was announced. Did I say we already knowed about?
You did say that, yeah.
Jesus, we already sorry. We already know about. This was announced last year, I think. Very much continuing in sort of a similar vein as The Crew 2, where you can drive all the vehicles, and Steep, where you can use various, what do you want to call them? Powder enthusiasts, right?
Yeah, winter sports, I guess.
Tearing up that mountain. This is like that, but you can go wacky and crazy. It's got all of the different things: bikes, sort of Daredevil, Red Bull, air race stuff.
Bikes with wheelbarrows on the back.
Bikes with wheelbarrows on the back. All of it. And they were sort of showing off the multiplayer spaces and things you can do in it. It looks about as fun as Steep does.
Yeah.
Which is to say that it'll have an audience and it will have an appeal to some people. And I'm sure a lot of people watched that trailer and thought, that looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
But again, it's another one of these games that is not... It's not going to have a story, and not every game needs a story, and I don't want to harp on about every game needing a story, but certainly I think games need direction, And if you're going to be spending 50, 60 quid on a game where you just get dropped into this world and told, right, go on,
off you go.
We've given you this huge map, go do stuff. There's an element of coolness to that. There's also an element of how long is it really going to hold your attention for?
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the long-term appeal of this game will be, but they keep going to this well to try and make this a thing. So on their behalf, I hope it works out for
That's
them.
the thing, because on the one hand, I do look at, as I said in the stream and just moments ago, I look at a game like this and I'm like, it's doing a good job of what it sets out to do, but is there an audience for this? But then on the other hand, the fact that they did do Steep and The Crew, and now they're doing this, they wouldn't have done this if they thought, those other games that were much like this model didn't do very well, so we better not do another one, you know? So clearly there is an audience, and it's worth them developing a whole new game for. So, you know, I hope that people who are into this kind of thing enjoy the next game of this style, and, you know, maybe there'll be another one in a few years' time.
I think the story of this conference is very much, okay, I can see the appeal, but it's not for me necessarily.
That's for someone. Yeah.
That's for someone, but it's not for me. Speaking of things that aren't for me, because I'd be really bad at it, Rainbow Six Siege is getting cross-play and cross-progression, and we also saw a really lovely animated trailer announcing one of the new operators that's coming soon.
Yeah.
Tell me about this operator, Peter.
Shoots bears. I think that's the main thing.
That's what we learned.
Yeah, she's a healer, apparently, from the Nakota territories of, that's a word I'm going to
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan, thank you very much. Good rescue there for you. You should be a Rainbow Six Sieger with rescue.
SAS
like that.
Catch Ewan.
Yeah, catch him. So crossplay starts from 2022. I don't know if you already said that, but it does. So yeah, more for Siege. If you're into Siege, which lots of people are, we're not, but it's coming.
That game's story is really impressive. The fact that it's still going today. I know that it was sort of rescued by hardcore players and live streamers and stuff, and now it's, you know, it always was positioned as an esport, and it's really blown up in that regard. So to still see it going strong, I think is a real success story.
After 6 years,
for Ubisoft. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Then we had a sizzle reel. Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Breakpoint 20th anniversary. There was a little glimpse of Sam Fisher as if to say, no standalone game, but we'll put him in as a DLC character.
They do that all the time. It's so weird. I honestly cannot understand why they don't do a Splinter Cell game, because they must know how much people want a new Splinter Cell game, and not just because people talk about it online all the time and are constantly asking them, but also the evidence is there that they know because they continue to put Sam Fisher in all of their games. He's been in like 2 or 3 games now, I think, as sort of a DLC character or whatever. So why do they not do it? I don't know, but Sam is coming again, but just not in his own game.
Not in his own game. Todrick Hall then told us a little bit about Just Dance 2022. It's Just Dance 2022, and Todrick Hall is not someone who I've ever heard of, but people in the chat seem to know who he is, so that's great. He's clearly a talented dancer.
Yeah.
Do we need to say more about Just Dance 2022, please?
No, it's coming November the 4th, apparently.
There we go.
For a whole bunch of platforms, and there will no doubt be a Just Dance 2023 next year.
Sure there will.
Enjoy.
I'm sure there will.
We then got some Valhalla updates. So they talked briefly about the Wrath of the Druids, Wrath, whatever you want to say, which we already know about. That's out already. But they also looked ahead to the following DLC, Siege of Paris, which again, of course, is based on actual historical events, seemingly. I think it was described as like the Vikings' biggest battle, or
biggest yeah boy ever.
Yeah, is their longest yeah boy ever. So, but also from a historical perspective, in terms of accuracy and learning things about Vikings. It's not just about Vikings in Paris. There's a discovery tour coming for Valhalla, right?
Yeah. Seemingly, I mean, they didn't go into a huge amount of detail, but basically it sounds a lot like what you were able to do in, I believe, Origins, sort of a special crafted mode that allows you to explore the world and just learn about it from an actual historical standpoint, rather than Eivor, I need you to kill this man because he's a Templar or something. It can be. Did you know that Vikings used to have showers. They didn't have showers. They used to bathe more often than the I don't know, the Angles, whatever the English were called at the time that were living there. Saxons. What were they?
Sax. I don't know.
What those guys? The Angles.
We need to go on the Discovery tour to learn these things.
We do. It's cool though. I love that. You know, these games they're meticulously crafted and giving people an avenue to actually learn properly about the history of Scandinavian settlers. Is that's great. Why wouldn't you want to do that? I think that's a really good idea.
Of an Assassin's Creed game is just riding around, watching this living world, and enjoying the historical setting and the geographical setting. You know, that's for me. That's half, if not more than half, of the fun of an Assassin's Creed game. So why not really just embrace it entirely and say, hey, it's an actual educational tool now. You're welcome. We are Ubisoft.
We are.
Yeah.
We then had 2 trailers. One for, I think, pretty much it was sort of a critical trailer, showing all the scores that the season 2 of Mythic Quest had gotten. I really enjoyed season 1. Didn't even know season 2 was happening, as in airing, which it is. And apparently the finale's coming soon. So I need to go catch up on that. And also we saw a sneak peek at the Werewolves Within video game film adaptation. What am I saying? It's a film adaptation of the video game. Look, it looks fine.
Yeah, it's right? Kind of irreverent take. It's kind of, who's got a gun? Everyone's got a gun. It's like, lol, they've all got guns, things like that. So, yeah.
They've all got guns.
Yeah. Yet more TV and film coming from Ubisoft in the next, probably for many years, I think. We've got all kinds of Netflix deals going on. They've got a Far Cry one. That was my prediction, but it wasn't mentioned.
Didn't show up in this one, which is weird. Yeah. Very, very strange. But you know what did show up from Far Cry?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, talking of Far Cry, a little cutscene trailer there, cinematic. Yeah,
got to see some of Giancarlo Esposito being a bit frightening, finding his son on a boat who's trying to escape. And he's like, I found you. You're coming. You naughty scamp. You're coming with me. And then he kills everyone on the boat after killing an old lady. So it really sets the stage as he's a baddie. Yeah. He's a baddie, but will it be an Ubisoft open world game? I think it might be.
It will.
I don't know, but we'll see. I am actually interested in Far Cry 6. I didn't bother with 5 or New Dawn after 4. It was just so similar to 3 gameplay wise that I just couldn't be asked to do it again. So I might hop back in with 6 as I did with Valhalla after taking a break from the series.
Yeah, good stuff. I think some people will have been disappointed there wasn't any gameplay of Far Cry 6. But
still coming this year, isn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. I would have thought must be pretty much ready for that now. But we'll bide our time and see some more coming. But we stick with Far Cry briefly because first there was a talk of the season pass, but with more of a focus on a new DLC in which villains from previous Far Cry games are returning in some sort of strange crossover event. I believe you actually play as Vaas, right? It said you are Vaas.
So you got Vaas, Pagan Min, and Joseph Seed from 3, 4, and 5 respectively. I think Vaas is the one I'm most interested in. I don't know about you, Peter, because I thought Vaas was... He's the guy that sort of put Far Cry on the mainstream map. Not to do a disservice to 2 and everything that came before, but certainly he was a big marketing point of 3, and he was great in it. So it makes sense to bring those guys back, but to have you play as them, that's interesting.
Yeah, I guess so. You also play as the other 2, right? I just remember specifically the text saying you are Vaas, but I was like, oh, okay, so is he the protagonist? But I guess you switch between them.
From a first-person perspective, you're washing your face in a barrel and you see Joseph's reflection.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's also got some Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon involvement of some kind. They just sort of said also featuring. So I guess there'll be more news on this in the coming months.
People love their Blood Dragon, so that's good. Good to see that. Make a return.
Yeah. We're getting near the end now. I was expecting Far Cry to be the climax of the show, but surprise, Mario and Rabbids are returning. for a brand new game. We're not just talking DLC here or anything like that. This is a whole new take.
Sparks of Hope, Peter.
Sparks of Hope, it's called. That's the subtitle. For those unfamiliar, I was just going to say it's of course a crossover between the Mario universe and Ubisoft's Rabbids in a kind of the first game was in an XCOM kind of tactical top-down style. This seems to be very similar, perhaps with a bit more freedom of movement, and it looks a bit more kind of organic, less grid-based, and just a bit more freedom to it. But it's a similar game by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very easy to mock Rabbids. It's by extension very easy to mock this game. Mm-hmm. And we did. And we will continue to do so. Yeah. But we were both surprised by the reaction in the chat. A lot of love for the Rabbids, a lot of love for the Mario and Rabbids crossover. So I imagine a lot of people will be very excited, even though objectively it's a very silly crossover. Yeah. I'm glad that people like it, and I'm glad that they're getting more.
Yeah, but that still wasn't the actual final sort of trailer of the show. We heard.
Could it get weirder?
Could it get weirder?
Could it get weirder?
I'll tell you what wasn't weird, or certainly not unusual or unexpected, was Eve talking about, hey, Ubisoft are great, and it's been a difficult year, and thanks to all of our players.
For trusting us, is what he said.
Yeah, but then he said, I want to leave you with a look at a new project. We can't wait for you to experience this. It's in one of the most dangerous places in the world or the universe or whatever.
Is it Splinter Cell?
Ooh, what
could it be? Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Oh,
What about crap, what was that film that came out in 2009?
Yeah.
That was the highest grossing movie of all time. And then
Titanic.
No, not that one, close though. They greenlit 4 sequels.
Fast and Furious.
No, it wasn't that one. And it hasn't come out yet. It's got a big purple guy. No, not purple. Is it purple? It's not Avengers, before you say Avengers. It's not Smurfs. Oh. No, they were blue, weren't they? It's Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
Yeah, everyone. Of course it is. Of course it is.
That's the game that they've announced. We're going 12 years now after the release of Avatar in cinemas. We have yet to see a second Avatar film. The entire cast is a decade older than they were when the last film came out.
Yeah.
And what better time to create an Avatar big budget game than now?
An Avatar big budget, probably live service game. We don't yet know, but that's probably what it's going to be. It's in the Snowdrop engine. It didn't even, personally, I didn't even think it looked especially mind-blowing graphically. And it was a CG trailer, so they had every excuse to make it look even better than perhaps the game itself will look. I thought it looked good, like fine, but I wasn't like, whoa, you know, from a graphical point of view. So, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, it's coming out apparently in 2022, and we don't actually yet know exactly what kind of game to expect, but we can certainly make some guesses, it being Ubisoft.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got to assume that the second film is closer than most people realise, but Avatar is so far out of the pop culture zeitgeist now that I just can't believe. I mean, the budget for this game, are they going to make the money back? Who's interested in Avatar anymore?
I don't know. James
Cameron. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious, like to watch this one unfold. But a very peculiar thing to end on, bearing in mind that before that we thought they were going to end on Mario and Rabbids, which was also a strange thing to end on. This conference was weird. Like, it was a weird one, and I think a lot of people came away from it like that was really underwhelming. There was nothing really of significance there that really blew people away.
I mean, as I said at the top of this, it was either at the start of this video or at the end of the stream, I can't remember. Time doesn't exist anymore. But if you're into your Tom Clancy games and Rainbow Six, and if you're excited for Far Cry and you like the previous Far Cry games, there's probably something for you here. And of course, Mario and Rabbids. But just, I guess, partly we're kind of unlucky in that most of those games we just happen to not be interested in. Even though there's a bit of variety there and a bit of a spread of genres, even despite it being Ubisoft. So it's almost unfortunate that pretty much everything there we happen to just not be that into.
Yeah, but Are we completely off base here? Let us know in the comments. You know, all of our criticism isn't to say that, and we stress this numerous times in the live reactions, that our criticism isn't to say that these games are going to be bad or that we want them to fail. They're just either sort of continuations of strange business decisions by Ubisoft or continuations of just the same stuff they've been making for ages. So there's a very good chance that if you're a fan of what they've been making for ages, then there's going to be stuff here for you. We want to know what you think in the comments. Let us know.
Please do.
Peter, we're not done live reacting to E3 though.
No.
Tomorrow, Sunday, we'll be reacting to Xbox and Bethesda, and then later in the evening we'll be reacting to Square Enix as well. I believe Xbox Bethesda is at 6 p.m. BST, so we'll be live a few minutes before that. Check out our social media to find out more.
Yeah.
But there we are. Have you got anything else to say?
No, only that if you can't make it to that one, but you want to catch the second one, Square Enix is 8:15, right? Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, we'll be going live at 8:10.
8:10. We'll be live at 8:10. Yeah.
Hopefully, see you all there. But thank you so much for watching this, and we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.